Abuse and Neglect by Joy Berry. People from birth to 17 years of age are called minors. People 18 years of age and older are called adults. Adults such as parents, guardians, teachers, friends, counselors, and babysitters are responsible for the minors in their care. Adults who are responsible for minors must make sure that the minors do not hurt themselves, do not hurt other people, and do not damage or destroy anyone's property. When minors hurt themselves, adults are often responsible for seeing that they receive proper care. He fell on the basketball court, the coach says to the nurse. When minors hurt other people, the adults must often take responsibility for seeing that the other people receive proper care. Your son ran into my son and knocked his tooth out. Oh no, I'll have to pay to get his tooth fixed. When minors damage or destroy something, adults must often take responsibility for repairing or replacing it. Your son threw a ball through my window. What are you going to do? I'll pay for it. Adults must often take responsibility for the problems children create. Therefore, they do not want minors to misbehave. Adults help minors to behave correctly by disciplining them. Discipline is something adults do to help minors, number 1, avoid misbehaving, and number 2, learn the correct way to act. Talking is one kind of discipline. Sometimes adults talk to minors and tell them what they should and shouldn't do. So the teacher says, "You left the classroom without telling me. That's not a good thing to do because..." and then she says why. They also explain what will happen if minors misbehave. Natural consequences are another kind of discipline. Some adults allow minors to suffer the consequences of their misbehavior. They let minors experience the bad things that happen automatically to them when they do something wrong. This helps minors learn why they should not misbehave. I guess it's my fault my bike got rusty. I shouldn't have left it in the rain. Inflicted consequences are another kind of discipline. Some adults have minors do something they do not like to do when they misbehave. This is done so they'll be sorry for misbehaving. Since you broke your sister's toy, you'll have to replace it with your own money. Isolation is another kind of discipline. Some adults have minors go to places where they will be alone so they will stop misbehaving. Go back to your bunks and don't come back out until you're ready to stop fighting. Deprivation is another kind of discipline. Some adults may allow minors to do or have something they enjoy when they misbehave. This is done so they'll be sorry for misbehaving. Because you disobeyed me, you may not watch TV today. Physical punishment is another kind of discipline. Some adults cause minors to feel some kind of pain when they misbehave. This is done so that they will be sorry for misbehaving. Spanking is one kind of physical punishment. I'm afraid you deserve that one. Most adults discipline their children through talking, natural consequences, inflicted consequences, isolation, deprivation, or physical punishment. Adults do these things to help minors avoid misbehaving and learn the correct way to act. Some adults overdo it when they discipline minors. They go too far and do too much. The result is that they hurt the minors instead of helping them. Some adults overdo it when they talk to minors. They talk very loudly or say extremely cruel things. Sometimes they do this in front of others. The things they say cause minors to be afraid most of the time and to feel bad about everything they do. You're no good. You can't do anything right. I wish you'd never been born. This makes the minors feel bad about themselves and think they're incapable of doing anything good. Some adults overdo it with natural consequences. They allow minors to suffer the consequences of their mistakes even when the consequences will severely hurt the minor. It serves him right. He should have known better than to play in the street. Let him learn the hard way. Screech! Some adults overdo it with inflicted consequences. They force the minors to do things that are too difficult or too painful. And when you're done, finish the dishes, do the laundry, feed the baby. As usual, I won't finish until very late tonight. Wah, wah. Some adults overdo it when they isolate minors. They make minors stay in frightening places for very long periods of time. It's scary being locked in the closet. They always make me stay here for such a long time, and I need to go to the bathroom. Some adults overdo it when they deprive minors. They take important things such as food and water away from minors, or they do not allow minors to do things that are necessary for survival. I'm so hungry I haven't eaten anything for 2 days. You don't deserve to eat. You've been a bad boy. Some adults overdo it when they inflict punishment on minors. They do things that cause bleeding, bruises, burns, or broken bones. When adults overdo it, they are not disciplining minors. They are abusing them. There are different kinds of abuse. Anything that's done on purpose to cause illness, injury, or death is called physical abuse. Anything that causes a minor to feel very bad all the time is called emotional abuse. Another kind of abuse is called neglect. Neglect happens when adults fail to give minors the things they need to survive and grow. Some adults neglect minors by failing to give them necessities, such as food, clothing, and an adequate place to live. I'm worried about Tom. He never brings lunch to school or lunch money. He's so thin, I'm sure he doesn't get enough food at home either. Some adults neglect minors by failing to give them the care they need to stay healthy and well. These adults do not do anything to prevent minors from getting sick. Neither do they give minors the proper medical attention when they're sick or injured. This child should have received medical attention a long time ago. Some adults neglect minors by failing to give them the supervision they need to be safe. These adults do not try to keep minors safe from hurting themselves. Neither do they try to protect the minors from possible harm. This child is playing in the street. I almost hit her with my car. Oh, don't bother looking for her parents. They're never home. She stays alone most of the time. Some adults neglect minors by failing to give them necessary educational opportunities. These adults prevent minors from participating in activities that would enable the minors to grow and learn mentally. Your child hasn't been in school. Are you teaching him at home? He doesn't have time for school. He has work. Some adults neglect minors by failing to give them the social experiences they need. These adults do not allow minors to talk to or be around others. Thus, the minors do not learn how to get along with other people. Why can't I ever go places and be with other people? No one would like you. No one wants to be your friend. There are many reasons why adults abuse and neglect minors. The first one is immaturity. Some adults are immature and lack the wisdom to behave correctly. This may result in their abusing and neglecting a minor. I was only 15 when I had my first child. I was still a child myself. Number 2, ignorance. Some adults do not know very much about minors. They do not know what minors need. They do not know how to treat minors. These adults can become abusive and neglectful because they don't know any better. Even though I have 4 kids, I don't know how to raise them. No one ever taught me. Unrealistic expectations. Some adults expect minors to act like adults. They do not realize that minors are not physically or mentally able to do this. When minors do not act grown up, the adults are often disappointed and become abusive or neglectful. Why can't you act like an adult? Because I'm not an adult. Frustration. Some adults are continually faced with experiences they can't handle, and they become frustrated. Sometimes they need an outlet for their frustration, and this outlet might be the abuse or neglect of a minor. 5. Unfulfilled needs. Some adults do not feel that others love or care about them. They expect minors to love or take care of them. When minors cannot do these things, the adults are often angry and become abusive or neglectful. No one takes care of me, so why should I take care of anyone? Number 6, feeling overwhelmed. Some adults do not have any family living near them. These adults feel that there's no one to help them when they need it. They feel stranded and overwhelmed. These feelings often cause them to be abusive or neglectful. I feel so alone. Number 7, drugs and alcohol. Some adults drink too much or take too many drugs. The alcohol or drugs cause them to behave strangely. This often includes includes the abusing or neglecting of minors. Oh no, he's getting drunk again. He always hits me when he's drunk. Bring me a beer! Number 8. Some adults were abused or neglected when they were minors. This may affect them in one of two ways. They may think that abuse and neglect are okay because that's what they experienced when they were minors. Or they may be angry and want to get back at someone for the abuse and neglect they experienced as minors. There are many reasons why some adults are abusive and neglectful. These reasons, however, do not justify their behavior. Abuse and neglect are wrong. It is against the law for any adult to abuse any minor for any reason. This law applies to all parents, teachers, friends, guardians, camp counselors, neighbors and relatives, babysitters, strangers. It is against the law for any adult to neglect any minor who is in his or her care. It is against the law for you to be abused or neglected. No matter what you've done or who you are, you should never be abused physically, abused emotionally, or neglected. Sometimes it's hard to know whether or not an adult has actually abused or neglected you. It's hard to tell the difference between discipline and abuse. It's also hard to tell the difference between what you think you need and what you actually need. It is especially hard for you to decide these things by yourself. How do we know whether or not we've been abused or neglected? Caring adults can help you. There's always someone who can help you determine whether or not you've been abused or neglected. Talk to someone if you feel that an adult is abusing or neglecting you. Choose a person you trust. Make sure it's someone who's old enough and wise enough to help you. It could be a parent, a guardian, a teacher, a principal, a minister, a close relative such as a grandparent, aunt, or uncle, or an adult friend. Make sure you tell the truth and do not keep back any of the details of what has happened, and do not exaggerate. Telling you the truth in these situations is extremely important. If the adult you are concerned about has not actually abused or neglected you, the people you talk to can assure you of that fact. They can also help you understand why the adult behaved that way. Making you go to your room is not abusive. That sounds like discipline. Good point. If you've been abused or neglected, the people you talk to can get help for you and make sure the abuse or neglect does not continue. The people who help you may need to separate you for a period of time from the adult who has abused or neglected you. This separation allows the adult to pay attention to solving the problems that are causing the abuse or neglect. It also allows you to feel safe and receive proper care. If you think a friend is being abused or neglected, encourage your friend to talk to caring adults. You may also want to talk to the adults about the situation to make sure your friend gets help. Please tell your teacher or principal about your dad. They'll help you. I know they will. If the adult you talk to doesn't help you, talk to other adults. Keep talking to people until you find someone to help you. We talked to other adults. They didn't help. I hope you can help. No one should ever be physically abused, emotionally abused, or neglected, and this includes you. The end.